Stamped is a frequency. It's an experience. It's a trip. But what separates a good DJ or an okay DJ from a great DJ is it comes down to prep. Like if you don't prepare, you're likely gonna fail. I tell people all the time, everything is not gonna be for you. Like DJing is all about like moments, and it's a little bit of psychology. It's my job to make the majority of people in that room happy. I probably won't make everybody happy, but it's more about the majority than that one person. Personally, I find different ways to like have fun while I'm DJing. That way it doesn't feel mundane to me. And I know if I'm having fun, there ain't no way in hell you not gonna have fun. You see me having fun, you gonna wanna have fun.
We got Blink in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Listen, I see you got the crib hat on.
You know, 305 till I die. Always. So,
I know you, but tell the people a little bit about, yourself, who you are, what you got going on.
Most people know me as Blink. I am an artist first, so I'm a DJ first. I do a lot of things. That probably stems from my Jamaican background. Man. I have my hands in a lot of different things, but ultimately, first and foremost, I'm an artist. I'm an entertainer. That's what I love to do. And I rep Miami 305 everywhere I go. I rep Jamaica everywhere I go. And I'm a student of the culture. I love music. I love art. So yeah. That's me in a nutshell.
Okay, cool. So what made you want to get into artistry?
Get into it. It kind of just happened. Like growing up in South Florida, like I tell people all the time, we're like spoiled with the amount of like creativity and like, different artists and creatives on here. So, in high school, I remember going to my first party and I was like, yo, this is crazy. And seeing like all the DJs and, the entertainers do their thing. So when I went to college and I started going out, I was like, this is different, and not in a good way. Like even now, I've traveled to different, cities and whatnot all over the country, and there's a difference, but you can still have fun. But at that time in college, I was like I was having more fun in Miami, like what's going on. And for me, it came down to the DJ side of things.
Gotcha.
When I was going out to events. So it was kind of one of those, you see a problem, try and be the solution type situation. So I always was into music. Back in high school, I used to make mixtapes and CDs back in the day when people used to play CDs for all my classmates. I used to sell them. I used to put the playlist together and like not just throw random songs on it either, like curate it and put them in certain orders. And like, I joke around because I used to make baby making mixes for all the homies. I used to, you know what I'm saying? And like started at a certain part. So like they might ride with a shorty, go to the movies or something. That whole CD from start of the night to end of the night.
Gotcha.
And you kind of curate the vibe that way. So it kind of just happened. I already had all the music because I was into it. And then the DJing, part came after like going to Orlando. And not that they don't have good DJs in Orlando, because I'm real cool with a lot of the DJs up there now. But at that time, maybe it was just on the college scene, hearing some of the inexperienced DJs. I'm like, yo, this ain't what I'm used to. Because I was going out to like big people parties at 16. Like, don't have no business being there, but I'm there.
Right.
So hearing, going from that to understanding what a good DJ is or a good event is and a good flow of a party is, to going, to people that's just trying to figure it out now, I was like, nah, this ain't it. So that kind of spearheaded me into that direction. And, 10 plus years later, I'm here.
Got you. And so whenever you hear the term DJ, most people think, oh, that's just the guy on stage that play music and everything or whatever. But as we learn over times, and, even myself going outside a lot, there's a lot more that you guys have to do than just show up and play music. And so, what are some of the things you got to do behind scenes as a DJ to prep for a gig or a show?
I mean, you said the word right there, is prep. It's all about prep. Like, I tell people all the time it's kind of easy to be a DJ or to become a DJ. You know, if you can dance, count to 4, like you should be able to mix music, right? But what separates a good DJ or an okay DJ from a great DJ is the preparation and the creativity. Like, you know, knowing what you have at your disposal. Like, I can give any DJ my laptop and they can have all the same songs that I have, but they're going to play them differently, whether it's better or worse, right? They're going to play them differently because that's part of the creativity and your expression. But, you know, that preparation and knowing what you have in your library, you know, taking the time to study the craft, study the history of, you know, music and artistry. You don't have to be like a nerd about it, but kind of understanding some of the basics, you know, will help you along the way as it did for me. But yeah, like, you know, doing research, like one of the biggest things for DJs that a lot of newer DJs probably don't do is like actually going out. Especially if you want to perform outside in front of an audience.
Yeah.
You got to go out, see what's working, see what's not working, get ideas, learn from other DJs' mistakes, learn from their successes. You know, that's part of preparation. You know, the simplest things like, you know, making sure you download your music, organize your music, tag them properly, get your cue points set up and all of that. Some people even go a step further and like plan out their sets. When I first started, I did that. I don't do that, you know, at all anymore. But when I first started, it was like, okay, what do I want to play tonight? You know, organizing all of that so I know where to find it faster so I can be more efficient. You know, it can be as tedious as you want it to be, but the biggest thing, it comes down to prep. Like if you don't prepare, you're likely gonna fail.
Got you. So pretty much, if you have like a gig to go to, do you have a preference on what kind of genre music you do better at when it comes to mixing?
As far as DJing, I don't have a specific like one genre. When I DJ, I love to be able to play everything because I love music. So if I can get off a disco song, a dancehall song, a country song, a soca song, a reggae, a dancehall song, an Afrobeat song, all in one set, I'm a happy camper. In my personal, you know, life, like some of the music I play, I don't listen to like, you know, in my free time. Personally, like I love reggae, I love R&B, soul music. I've been listening to Afrobeat a lot more on my like, you know, free time, I guess you would call it. And like old school hip hop kind of things, but like I still keep up to date with music. So whether it's, you know, the hottest Amapiano song or the hottest hip hop song or the hottest country song or dance song or EDM or house, you know, I keep up with all of it. You know, and that's just something I do. A lot of people, you know, they stick to one lane. So, you know, they stick and they focus to hip hop and they're probably a great hip hop DJ. But you put them in another situation and they probably couldn't do as well as someone that sticks to that genre, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's like being in the NBA. You got dudes that just shoot. Yeah. They don't need to do anything else but shoot. They stand in that corner when the ball come their way, it's a 90% chance they're going to hit that three. You know, and that's what they do. Me personally, I like music so much that I don't like to, you know, limit myself into what I can do. And, you know, over time, people have definitely tried to stick me in a box. I remember at one point I was a soca DJ. At one point I was, you know, a dancehall DJ. Now people look at me as, oh, he's an Afrobeat DJ. I'm just a DJ. I love music. I'm going to play the music I like. But yeah, the best type of event for me is to play a little bit of everything and have a dance floor, like bottle service, like sections, like that's like, I get it. The money is there and whatnot, but like, you know, being able to actually see a dance floor move and, you know, make sure that like this group over here is having fun. That group over here is having fun. They're singing, they're dancing. And at the end of my set, making sure the entire place has kind of come together and I've told my story. That's like the best. That's the best thing for me.
Got you. So How do you feel about people coming up to you with song requests?
I dislike it.
Why?
Because one, like, not even on like an ego thing, but like when I'm like up there performing, I really don't want to have to like take the time to now, like I can't be the asshole, right? So like at that point, someone's coming up to me and asking me something in the middle of me working. Now I have to put my customer service hat on and like gracefully handle that situation. And it wasn't always like that. Like there's always been, you know, people wanting to hear whatever they want to hear. But with like the DJ booth kind of moving from like the dark corner in the club to like center stage or like people having access to you, it makes it a little bit more difficult to like kind of stay focused. And, you know, I've had people like bumping into me in the middle of a set or like, you know, feeling like I'm disrespecting them because I'm trying to get a mix off and, you know, I'm focused on my tools, the turntable or the CDJ and the mixer or my laptop. And like, they're like, why are you ignoring me? Or they're impatient. But, you know, so like that aspect of it is what I probably hate the most is, you know, I'm just trying to work. So I need to be focused on what I'm doing so that way I can deliver what I was hired to do in that setting. As far as like people wanting to hear what they want to hear, I mean, it's cool. I'll at least listen. There's no guarantee. You know, every DJ is a little bit different. Some people will, you know, take the money to play it or that like me. I'm pretty confident in my skills after DJing for so long that like I, for the most part, know what that group or room wants to hear. And a lot of times people come up with requests and it's more like on a demand thing, you know? So I don't really, you know, feed into that because at the end of the day, like that one person isn't more important than the other 50 or 500 people in the room, you know, and it's my job to do my best to make the majority of people in that room happy. I probably won't make everybody happy, but it's more about the majority than that one person. You know, a lot of times they're like, oh yeah, we're getting ready to leave. Can you play my song? In my head, I'm like, bye. Because like you're getting ready to leave. Why am I gonna, you know, rush this person's experience because you want to leave? You know, like DJing is all about like moments and it's a little bit of psychology, right? So, you know, if you've been there for, you know, an hour or two, you know, and I've seen you, I'll kind of scan the crowd and I've seen you. I don't want to, you know, ruin that experience for you. Like you've been there for a while. So like you've been here for the journey. Me abruptly just throwing something in there to, you know, appease this person could mess up your journey and your experience, mess up the journey experience for the other person. So that's kind of how I look at it. Sometimes I get good requests. Sometimes somebody might ask me something. I'm like, you know what? I wasn't thinking about playing that song. And it might take me in another direction. But more times than not, I would tell people to trust the DJ and let him cook. Unless like the DJ is doing like a horrible job. And you know when a DJ is doing a horrible job. If they just didn't play the song that you wanted to hear that night or whatever, like it's okay. You can play YouTube or Spotify, Apple Music on your way home. You'll be good. But 9 times out of 10, we're going to play something that you like. It may not be everything, but a DJ is going to play something that you like.
So coming from Yad, you have rhythms.
Yeah.
Over here, everybody complains when people use the same beat or rap over the same beat. And so is it easier to blend songs from Caribbean culture versus American type songs?
I wouldn't say it's easier, but what do you mean by people like complaining about people using the same beat?
You know, with rhythms, you might have Sean Paul, Tony Matterhorn, you might have, you know, Vibes, all of them go on the same beat.
Yeah.
And it'll be a completely different song with the same beat, with their vibe versus over here, you know, when you really try to blend those songs together to make one transition to the next, it may not be as easy because BPMs and all that type of stuff too.
I think I think I know where you're going with this question. Like a lot of people have been complaining recently as far as what I've seen, especially about hip hop, about the use of like samples
Yeah.
in music. And the thing is, sampling has always been around. But what I think has happened is, prior to, the last, 15 years, back, like, let's say in the 90s, when a lot of artists were using samples, they were using samples from another genre. So like they would go grab a soul track or a disco track, something outside of hip hop, sample it, even if it was, very simple and straightforward and it didn't really do anything else to like chop it up, but they kind of transformed it from a soul track to a hip hop track. And recently in hip hop, instead of reaching way far back to the soul and disco or to a different genre, a lot of artists have been sampling hip hop or R&B songs that were already sampled. So they're very familiar tracks within hip hop. So it comes off as it's not being creative enough, or like people are complaining. Like people complain, oh, Saweetie's using, P.D. Pablo or whatever, and it's the same song. So that I kind of get. But it's really, I mean, there's no difference to me within like mixing, hip hop songs or dancehall songs. Like at the end of the day, it's all about your creativity and how you put it forward. But I can understand why some people might have a, bad taste in their mouth about, hearing a song that's maybe like, 10, 15 years old that was already in hip hop and R&B being sampled. It doesn't come off as like original, especially if it's, a straightforward beat. But I mean, it is what it is. That's what that producer and the artist decided to do. That's their art. I tell people all the time, everything is not going to be for you.
Facts.
So if you don't like that song Kanye did, or that sample he used, or the sample Drake used, whatever, it ain't for you.
Now, would you still feel the same about like people like Lil B? I haven't heard him in a while, but people
That's
like Lil B.
cooking dude, right?
Yeah. People like Lil B, or even, some of Yachty's earlier things, or Lil Pump, some of their songs, where a lot of hip hop heads or music heads in general be like, that's not music, versus what we have going on now, where we're hit with a lot of repetition. Lil Uzi Vert, I Just Want to Rock, like it's a dope song, but it's super repetitive and you don't really know what else he's saying during the song. So how do you feel about these songs being from that generation of music where it's like, they have the lyrics, they have the beats, they have all of that, and now it's more so framed towards just catchy music?
I think people have to understand the power that they have. Right? So let's just speak about hip hop, right? And the music industry. Since the beginning of time, when the first record label, it's always been about promotion. You have a song, you want people to hear it, you promote it. It's on the radio, it's playing in stores, it's in movies, it's like there's people behind the scenes that are promoting and putting those songs in places. Now everyone has every song that they want at their fingertips. So they might feel like, oh, that's not a good song, or this isn't music, but that music has always been out there. So like people can promote and market trash music to you all the time, but if you don't feed into it, if you don't listen to it, if you don't signal to them that it's okay for them to do it, then they'll stop. So, if people are feeding, I don't want to call anyone out, but let's just use Yachty as an example, right? And I love Yachty's music, right? But let's say Yachty has a song that everyone, the consensus is the song is trash, but his record label's pushing the song. It's on the radio, it's in movies, you're hearing it on TikTok, you're hearing it on Instagram. You start to somewhat get like the brainwash from repetition, right? But you still have control. Like most people probably won't go on iTunes or Spotify and play that song, but like if you legit say, I don't like the song and I don't want to play into it, then cool, nobody would play it. And there's also a separation between, more now than ever, because everyone has so much music at their fingertips that like there's certain songs that I would say are songs for the club, certain songs a song for the car ride. There's songs for different occasions and different moods and vibes. And it's become a little bit harder for the tastemakers, so the record labels or the DJs or, you know, the execs and A&Rs to kind of dictate what is a hot song now or what is, you know, the cool thing, because everyone has all this music. So it kind of goes back to the request thing. Like somebody might request a really dope song that they listen to all the time, but it may not be a song that's appropriate for the club or for a party, right?
Gotcha.
So people still have to understand that they have the power. You decide what you listen to, when you listen to it. If you're going into a public space, then you somewhat lose that power. You still have it, because at the end of the day, like I can't go to a party and play music that I just want to hear because the audience has the power. They're going to dictate to me whether I'm doing a good job or not. Like if I play a song and, you know, people aren't, you know, moving or dancing, or they're looking at me crazy like, what is this? You know, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna switch that song a lot faster than a song that I kind of see a couple of head, but they don't got to be bouncing off the walls, but I see some head banging, nobody looking at me crazy. All right, man, I might make that song ride, whether I think people know it or not. But people have power, so they just gotta, you know, tap into that a little bit more, I think.
Got you. And what's your standpoint on, you know, musical choice when it comes to being a DJ? Like you said earlier, you are up to date with the country stuff, the pop stuff, the hip hop, the R&B, the this and that. But, you know, when you approach a certain crowd, typically like most people who listen to hip hop don't like country, and then vice versa. And so why do you think that's as prevalent as it is?
I mean, I've never met anybody that only likes one type of music. Never. They might have a favorite or a preference, but you telling me the person that loves hip hop and only listen to trap music won't bounce their head and do a 2-step to a Ron Isley song? You know what I'm saying? Like I've never met anybody that only likes one type of music. So like more now than ever, I play the music that I like, but I also play it with the audience in mind. So it's not just about me, but I also have my own, let's say, morals and values when it comes to songs, right? Like there's even some dancehall songs that like I don't like the dirty version too, so I play the clean version. That's just me personally. Or there's, you know, there might be a song that like I'm championing because I love this song and no one else knows it, but I'm gonna find a way to creatively bring it into my set, or creatively expose people to that sound, especially if it's like a remix or something like that. Like, you know, there's so much music in the world, and there's always an opportunity for education.
Got it.
My job has changed now as a DJ. Like back in the day, it was almost all education, because to hear a song you wanted, you had to either turn on the radio or go out somewhere to hear that song. Most people, you know, didn't have like record players and a whole bunch of music just at their fingertips back in the day. So they had to go somewhere or get that music or that knowledge from someone else. Now, I mean, you pull out your phone, you literally have every song that's ever existed at your fingertips. So now people are doing their own research and finding out what they like for themselves, which is fine. Like I actually love that, right? Like I pull out my phone. Sometimes I just go to the first playlist I see and just hit and listen to random music. Don't know any of it. And I'm educating myself and finding new artists and finding new sounds and stuff. And it's dope. But at the same time, you know, again, when you go into a public space, it's not just about you. You know, you're in a collective, you're in a space where now people have to cater to the majority and not just the minority. And it can be difficult. I'm not gonna lie. It can be difficult, especially if you try not to, you know, play the same thing over and over again. You know, if people go out, they don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. But to a certain extent, if you're dealing with the majority, there's gonna be a certain lump of songs that you're gonna hear when you go out because it fits the majority.
Yeah.
And then you weave in whatever else.
So I have like a 2, maybe a 3-part question.
All right. Hopefully I can remember all the parts.
Well, I'm gonna break it down. We're gonna say them in different parts. But so the first part of the question is, DJs used to have a real good dynamic with artists, or they had to have, or artists had to have a good dynamic with DJs. In today's age, where it is more digital,
Yeah.
that dynamic of artists, working with DJs to get their stuff played in the clubs and everything, like, is that still relevant?
It should be,
Mm.
but I don't think it's as relevant as it once was. Like artists relied heavily, especially newer upcoming artists. They relied heavily on their relationship with DJs and, record label execs or A&Rs or contacts at radio stations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the internet now, again, which I love this for artists and creatives, an artist doesn't necessarily need a record label or need a DJ to get their stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
They can have their own team or do it on their own or whatever. But even people, shit on radio now, like radio is still important.
Yeah.
The DJ is still important. Because a lot of times, like we would have the pulse on, what's going on in the streets, in the city. And then also we have a completely different base than what that artist has. So if your fan base is over here and you want to tap into this fan base, you can't just come over here all willy-nilly. Like, they're like, yeah, who is this? But if you have, it's almost like a warm transfer. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, cool, let me call up this DJ. I want to get this song over in this vibe. Boom. Now you have a warm transfer because a DJ that this audience trusts is telling them this is a cool thing. It's a lot more difficult now because I would say like the power that DJs once wielded as far as like dictating what's cool and what's not, it's still there, but it's not as strong as it once was. Just again, because everyone has all the songs at their fingertips. They don't need me to tell them what's cool. They can make that choice on their own. But when you build that trust with an audience, whether it's, the radio station or a DJ or a record label or, an online platform entity or collection or whatever, when you build that, relationship and that trust with your audience, it's a lot easier to get the music out there. But that artist DJ relationship, especially for like the up and coming, like trying to get their music out there and work together, it definitely could be better than what it is for sure.
Got it. So now the second part of that question is, you're starting to see a lot more DJs like a DJ Khaled or DJ Envy. How are those type of DJs different from your kind of DJing?
I mean, it's the same. Like, to me, a DJ is a DJ. Whether you a DJ and you produce, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you play on turntables, CDJs, USB, like a DJ is a DJ. If you select music, mix songs together, you're a DJ. Now, they've, carved out, different lanes for themselves. So like there's, I would say, different types of DJs. You might have your, corporate DJ or your wedding DJ or your club DJ or radio or, there's all different kind of lanes that you can carve out for yourself. So like a lot of people would, shit on Khaled, but like Khaled started out just like me, playing music, like pulling out his records, scratching, doing all these things. Like he used to DJ for like Bounty Killer and like he's done clashes. He used to play on the same underground radio station that I played on down here. Not at the same time, but like he played on Mix 96, just like a lot of great DJs in Miami have gone through Mix 96. So but once you get to a certain level or whatever your trajectory is, wherever it's taking you, he carved out a lane, in producing music, whether he's the beat maker or he's the one pulling the strings, but that's his lane. He doesn't DJ as much, but at the end of the day, he's still a DJ. Like,
got it.
If I DJ once a year and all I'm doing is making music or throwing events or whatever, I'm still gonna be a DJ. It's still gonna be Blink. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm a selector. So
got you. And so the last part of that question is, in a day and age where we have access, we can treat this like a production company or, things like that, where everyday consumers, can go buy a camera or go buy DJ equipment and go buy these things. How much harder has it become to really let people know the difference between a DJ decade of experience versus somebody who just do this and that, especially when it comes to rates?
Whew. This is a 3-part question. I would say I don't know if I would say it makes it harder, but it definitely can make it challenging. I'm all for the advancement of technology. I'm all for, new DJs, joining a fraternity. Like, I love it. I tell all my homies all the time, like, I would much rather, work with a capable DJ than someone that's incapable. So, when it comes to, anybody doing anything, like, don't let, the gatekeepers or whatever, like, stop you from pursuing things. However, you still have to understand that there's, what's the word? Certain etiquettes and things. And part of that comes with education. Part of that comes with, the willingness of that person to want to learn. Some people will pick up a camera and just start shooting, and all of a sudden they're, I don't want to say reaching for the stars, because yes, go pursue your dreams, but like, someone might pick up a camera tomorrow and the next day be in Coachella's DM like, yo, I want to shoot your festival. You know what I'm saying? Which is all fine, good and dandy, but you kind of gotta understand where you are. And I even do this all the time. I take a self-assessment of myself, right? Especially when it comes to rates and where I'm positioning myself within the market. Like, you can have your price, but like, your value is what you get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like you're worth $1 million, but someone's only paying you 100, you're only valued at 100. Yeah. Sorry to break it to you. Right. So, being able to, have that awareness to, kind of see, okay, well, this person over here is doing this and their rate is probably this. I'm over here, regardless of talent level. What do I need to do in this current market, in this current climate, to be able to put myself next to that person from the outside looking in? Like, even regardless of how I feel about myself and my skills and what I can bring to the table, there's a reason that I'm here and that person's there, or that person's here and I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, being able to have that self-awareness and just being brutally honest with yourself, like, that's taken me a long way. Because I mean, there's like people that I would call friends, colleagues, you know what I'm saying, that I would call friends. Like, I know how much they make, and I know their skill level compared to mine. I would put myself right next to them. But there's been times where I've had to be like, well, the reason I can't demand what they're asking for is because of XYZ. Now let me correct or improve XYZ. That way, from the outside looking in, the person that is paying or the person that is booking sees that same value in me and that person.
Got it.
So that's kind of how I do it. And at the end of the day, like, people always try and shit on like the newbies, whether it's any new creative. They're like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Of course they don't know what they're doing. We ain't know what we was doing when we started.
Facts.
But it's a combination of, like, especially in these kind of industries, like, kind of being able to, like, be open to teach and like show people the way. But on the other end, the person that's coming up also has to be open to that. And it's something that, I think both sides can do a better job of, so more collaboration, more, self-evaluation, dropping the egos, and that goes for both sides, the experienced and the inexperienced coming together and figuring it out.
Nah, facts. Okay, so now let's talk Stamped. What is stamped?
Stamped is a frequency. It's an experience. It's a trip.
Mm.
It's my monthly joy. Stamped Stamped, for anyone that doesn't know, is one of my colleagues, DJ Aya. That's his brainchild. That's his baby. He started Stamped because he wanted a space for the African culture to thrive, and also to be a place for like education, and for people to feel comfortable, and it's become just that. It's unapologetically African. Only African music plays there, and even down to all the details. To the decor, the venue locations, the vendors that are there, the food that's sold there. Like, everything about that is supposed to embrace Africa. And I love it. Obviously I'm Jamaican, but if you're Black, you got roots in Africa. I say this at the party all the time. When I shout out where all my Africans at, I want everybody to make noise. I don't care if you rep Haiti or Jamaica or Bahamas or Ghana or Nigeria or Ethiopia. Like, when I say big up all my Africans, all my Africans make noise, I want everybody, if you got some melanin in your blood, to make some noise, because we're all African.
Facts.
Yeah, I love that party, man. It's a vibe.
Why I even bring it up too is because I first met you there without even meeting you directly.
Yeah.
And if I had no idea about you, I'd have thought you were African. And that just shows a relation to how well you had the crowd engaged, DJing and just being that prominent figure. 'Cause I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this whole presence, how everybody's interacting with each other and how you guys are interacting with the crowd, all the DJ selections that happen at that venue, at that party for that day, are like, they seem strategic and they seem very well placed to just boom, one after the next. And it doesn't feel stagnant at all, even though it's only African music.
Yeah.
And that's very hard to do, because I've been to all, just Jamaican parties or soca parties and everything, and it starts to get somewhat repetitive, or but I feel like, with Stamp, you guys set such a pace with how you do the music that the crowd becomes the other part of the event.
Yeah. The crowd at Stamp is very important, because once one person gets to dancing, it's infectious. And like, I would say, even like the majority of people that go to Stamped, I would say, are not like of direct African descent.
Yeah.
The majority. We're in South Florida. We have a very large West Indian community. We have a lot of Africans here too, but probably not as much as like a DC or an Atlanta or someplace like that. So, maybe like 8 years ago, the majority of the diaspora, at least that was like going out to parties, probably I would say would be Jamaican. There was a lot of Trinis. But now, I don't know, like, not to get too political, I don't know if it's a visa thing or whatever, but like, I feel like there's a lot more Haitians that are at these West Indian 100%. And at these African parties than, I remember. And I love it. Like, even, like a little history about, me, and like kind of how you said you thought I was African. Like, back in college, a couple of homies of mine, we were all a part of the CSA on campus, the Caribbean Student Association, and that kind of branched into us creating our lifestyle brand Island 360. And like, through that, I got engulfed in just learning about, at that time, all of the Caribbean culture. So like, I wanted to learn about Curacao and Belize and Guyana and Trinidad and Grenada and Bahamas, and like all of the different Caribbean islands, right? Like, I have friends and like, people that are from all these different islands. So like, I want to learn about their culture. I want to understand their food, what makes them tick, what makes us the same, but also what makes us different.
Yeah.
And the same thing when it comes to the African culture. Like I have friends from Ethiopia, I have friends from Eritrea, I have friends from Ghana, Nigeria, you know, all over. Like a lot of times, like people just hear Ghana and Nigeria being shouted out, but like I know somebody from Madagascar. You know what I'm saying? Like I try and understand and learn as much as I can about, you know, all the different cultures around the world, because as much as we are all different, we're all the same. You know, and trying to find those little things to connect us all, whether it's through what I say, whether it's through the music, whether it's how I dress, whether it's, you know, going to a certain restaurant. Like I had got jollof rice for the first time last year. I don't care where you from, that's the best kind of rice in the world. Best kind of rice in the world. I had, even though I have tons of Haitian friends, I had Jean rice for the first time Saturday. Like I had griot in my past life and pickles and all that, but like my first time having a rice, amazing. Like I love trying and experiencing everyone's culture, because like I feel like that's how I can, at least for myself, connect with people and like build meaningful relationships. So you know, that crowd, like I extend myself, you know, into them, and, you know, they give me all the energy that I need at that event. So
got it. No, that's super dope. And, you know, one of the last questions that I do have is, what does it mean for a DJ to really go on tour?
I mean, there's different you know, ways. Like you can go on tour with an artist, you know, so if, you know, you locked in with an artist, or, you know, an artist, you know, wants to book you because they're going on tour, then you're on tour. Or it can, you know, be a short stint of travel where maybe, you know, you might go to Atlanta one weekend, go to New York, go to, you know, DC, Jersey, whatever, Texas, and within a, you know, specific period of time. But anytime you're like away from home for an extended period of time, I would say, you know, you're on tour. I've personally never been on tour. I've done my boom. I'm gonna pop into Atlanta. I'm gonna pop into New York. I'm gonna pop over to LA. You know, head over to Texas. Go up to Orlando. Go across to Tampa. But like never. I've never organized it that way, where I'm like away from home that long. I don't know if it's just an opportunity, or I've never really had the desire to do that, because I'm not gonna lie, I love being home. Like
it's a nice
like
place.
You know, like I love being home in Miami, but I also just love being home, like at the crib. like I love being home, just because like I'm comfortable there. That's where like I'm the most creative. I can, you know, get work done, work on remixes, edits, put together mixes, organize and prep. Like I would say, I mean, the last couple years since COVID been kind of rough on my organization. But prior to COVID, I would say I probably had one of the most like organized DJ libraries. Like yeah. If anybody want to come test me, I got one of the most organized DJ libraries when it comes to, you know, having all my, without getting too technical, but like tagging all of my tracks properly, making sure the genres are correct, the years, if I want to put any notes in there to help me find a song faster so I can be more efficient. And that's important to me, because as much as you might see me MCing for other DJs, I prefer to MC for myself. I really don't like, there's like very few people that I would like trust to MC or host with me. And because I host for myself and MC while I'm DJing, I have to be very efficient. You know, I got to be on top of my timing to make sure like I'm not missing when the song is supposed to be mixed in and out. But at the same time, I'm talking on the mic and coming up with things to say and figuring out, because I try not to say the same thing all the time. So that, going back to the very first question, that preparation allows me to do that. So yeah.
Got you. And that actually made me think of a whole nother question, which is like, does the battle dynamic exist in DJ culture the same way it might with an artist? Like, let's say Kendrick and Drake and all of them. You know, Kendrick went on an interview right after and was like, yo, I got love for both of them, but this is hip hop. You can't claim number one spot and expect not to be challenged for it. And like the same way you just said, hey, if anybody want to test me, I got one of the best libraries out there.
Like from the era that I came up in, I don't know if it's, you know, the same now, but from the era I came up in, you know, I actually started playing hip hop. Like I started the CDs that I would hand to my homies was like R&B and hip hop. Like I started with hip hop, so that culture of, you know, battling and, you know, not even like a hate thing, but like a friendly kind of battle. Like I've always been about that. And then you have, you know, the Jamaican class culture, you know, and I'm always like now more than ever, like anytime I walk into a room, I'm always like confident. So I always walk into the room like nobody's gonna out DJ me today. And even with that, I still kind of have to have, you know, some discretion, because at the end of the day, like when I show up to an event, it's not about me versus that person or whatever the case may be. But like, I feel like that competitive edge actually makes me a better DJ, because it's like I'm here to do a job and make sure the audience and the crowd is having fun and play my position, whatever that is for that event, whether it's playing first or second or third or last or just MCing or warming up or playing the hits, whatever it is. Like I'm gonna show up and play my role. But whatever that role is, I'm gonna bust your ass in that role. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how I move, regardless of who it is. Like I can be on a lineup with Jazzy Jeff. I love Jazzy Jeff. Jazzy Jeff is a great DJ. But I'm gonna walk in there with the confidence like, yeah, I'm gonna bust Jazzy Jeff ass. You know what I'm saying? Whether he gonna bust my ass or not, you know what I'm saying? But I have that confidence when I walk in, and it just comes from like, you know, that era, you know, that I came up in DJing and music, where, you know, it was always like you always had to be ready to go, prepare for anything.
No, absolutely, and that makes me think of a concept where we went to one party out here, and if he watches this, he's gonna kill me because I've known him for a long time. DJ something, they did a versus party, and it was like Chris Brown versus Usher, and it was up to the DJs to like go through both of their own catalogs, and they were both set up, and then you would hear a Chris Brown song and hear an Usher song.
You couldn't have put me in that. Man, go ahead.
I wonder why that dynamic doesn't exist more within some parties. Like you can't find it. Like you go to a party and it's the DJ one after another, but you know that specific party was like, yo, this is Team Usher, yo, this is Team Breezy, like, and they're going head to head. And I like both Usher and Breezy, but you know, Breezy I like more. But I felt like the DJ played better Usher bops, especially to combat with the song that just played from Chris Brown.
So some of that is going to come down to like, something like that is like a very specific thing. It's like a themed event. So it's not going to happen all the time. The other side of that, like you said, is going to come down to the DJ. So I'm not going to speak on this specific situation because I don't know, but I would assume it doesn't happen as often because, you know, I feel like a lot of DJs might just be scared. Like they don't have that in them, and it's okay. It's almost like how people talk about like LeBron versus MJ. They say MJ doesn't have the killer instinct, and LeBron doesn't have the killer instinct, you know, and the drive that like Kobe or Jordan might have had. Whatever, you know, doesn't really take away from him. He's still great, but like I would say like you see that, at least myself, I see that a lot more in like dancehall.
Yeah.
Where even if it's not a clash, like it's like friendly, like banter and friendly. And the thing is, it makes it more fun. Like if I go to a party and like my homies are there and they playing, like I might throw a couple shots at him during the party, like friendly shots. Nothing that's like disrespectful.
Yeah.
But I might like throw a little like say something a little slick on the mic, like to introduce a song or whatever, and then like, cool, that was my time. And then when they come on, they'll do a little something, and like I can't really counteract what he said, but it makes it more fun. It's engaged. And even if the crowd doesn't even know what happened, at least for us, it makes it more fun, especially, if you play a lot of the same music. Like, we got to find, like, me personally, I find different ways to, like, have fun while I'm DJing. That way it doesn't feel mundane to me. So, like, whether it's the way I transition a song, it might still be the same 2 songs, but maybe this time I scratch it in. Maybe this time I did an echo. Maybe this time I did it straight. Maybe this time I took out some of the bass. Like, I try and do different things to just keep me going and to keep me engaged. Because if I'm not engaged, then my energy is going to reflect on the audience. So I have to make sure I'm engaged and I'm having fun. Like, when you see me dancing and having fun behind the DJ booth, it's not because I'm trying to put on a show. Like, no, I'm actually having fun. Like, I'm back there, like, I'm enjoying myself. I'm singing, I'm dancing, I'm, doing the little dances because I'm actually having fun. And I know if I'm having fun, there ain't no way in hell you're not going to have fun. I don't care how many people in that room. It could be 5 people. You see me having fun, you going to want to have fun.
Facts. No, that's good. That energy is contagious. And so, real quick, if you had to do a gem drop for new DJs coming into the game and they wanted to start off, they wanted to get booked for parties, they wanted to, do something as big as Stamp has grown to, they want to do, all of these other things to be a solidified DJ in a world that has a lot more DJs now, what are some steps that they could do to take their career to the next level?
A couple of things. I would say, first and foremost, like, figure out if you actually like it. Like, do it enough, practice, mess around with it, go out, be around other DJs, like, engulf yourself in the culture and see if you actually like it before you, go buy a $3,000 laptop and a $2,000 controller and buy speakers. And, like, having that stuff doesn't make you a DJ, right? So figure out if you actually like it. I would say, don't let nobody disrespect you, but ignore the money. Like, don't do it for the money. The money will come, but if you focus on the money, you're focusing on the wrong thing to a certain degree. And once you get to a certain point, then you want to make sure that, like, you're pricing yourself accurately in the market based on your skill level and your market share and all that kind of stuff. But in the beginning, I would say, don't focus on the money. We've all done it. Every DJ, every videographer, every photographer, artist, whatever, wherever you want to put yourself. We've all done free and cheap work. All of us.
Facts.
And I would not trade those free and cheap work experiences for nothing, because they allowed me to learn and grow while nobody was watching. There's been a big, viral thing going on with this one DJ from Coachella. She, bombed her set, right? And, like, it came down to really, from all the DJs' perspective, like, she didn't understand the basics of what she needed to do. And if a DJ goes and, again, they want to shoot for the stars, and day 2 after they get their controller, reaching out to Coachella to go play, now you're learning and trying to experience and gain knowledge on a way bigger stage than the bar around the corner that has 3 people coming in, where you can learn and go through the growing pains, whether you're getting paid nothing or you're getting paid $100. I have to understand what you're getting out of it. So that's why I say, don't focus on the money. Focus on what you're getting out of it, because it may not always be financial. It may be, experience, it may be connections, it may be relationships. Don't let someone else dictate or define what that is for you. You define it for yourself. But don't focus on the money. And I would say, be a student of whatever it is that you want to get into. Like, a lot of people hate on DJs that, like, start with controllers and, you're not on turntables, or, like, that's not me. But I do think there's something about kind of understanding the fundamentals and knowing where things came from. So that way you're just you're more prepared for any situation.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nah, Blink, this was informational. Got even to just learn a little bit more about you, but I could see how passionate you are about, your industry and what you do. And, we appreciate great DJs for that. And so if people wanted to tap in with you, you have a schedule, parties coming up, anything like that, where could they find all that information at?
Yeah, you can find me on any social media platform that you're on at Blink the Link, BlinkDalink. Going forward, I'm at Stamped every month, so at Stamp the Party on IG, you'll see all the videos and the vibes. You might catch Rich in one of the videos, like the biggest thing for me coming up, I would say, is stay tuned to my IG, stay tuned to my YouTube. I have a SoundCloud that has a whole bunch of mixes, but I'm transitioning to more visual. So those same, kind of vibes that's on my SoundCloud, running up the numbers, I'm transitioning that over to YouTube. So look out for that, and I might be in your city soon.
Now, most definitely, y'all heard it first. And so, listen, this is your host, Moneybag Rich. And as we always say, we look good, we live good. Life is good. Talk to us. We talk back, and we out of here.